since we've done an Am I the A-hole? So I pulled up Am I the A-hole subreddit, and we'll decide if they are, if the other person is, if nobody is. I'll pop in a piece of extra spearmint. This is my tried and true flavor that I have been chewing for 1,000,000 years. Extra spearmint. And as you know, we have to do some channel hygiene, some channel maintenance. If you're new here, welcome to my nonsense. If you're old here, welcome back, OGs. If you're new here, please consider hitting subscribe. If you're old here, go double check, make sure you're subscribed. Hit the like if you like, leave a comment. It can be anything related to the video, or it can just be a hello or a few emojis, anything as long as it's cool, as long as it's respectful. Hit the notification bell. As always, I will link my tip jars down yonder in the description box. No pressure whatsoever, but every $2, $5, anything helps, and that is what allows me to continue to make content. Follow me over on Instagram, same name over there. All my links are down there. Custom videos, my email's down there, and also you are invited to join my Patreon for Patreon exclusive content, and that will be linked below. All right, let's get to it. This guy's name is Hey Captain Jerk. Yeah, you're the a-hole. I don't know. Let's read it. Am I the a-hole for telling someone I never desired a daughter and I didn't try for a girl? Weird question, but I have 4 sons. They're 14, 12, 8, and 4. The older 2 are biological and the younger 2 were adopted after birth. Complicated us, making us infertile. I was at the park over the weekend with my younger 2 boys. I got to chatting with another couple and mentioned that I had 4 boys. She's like, oh, you poor thing. I wanted a girl too, but he, pointing at her husband, didn't want to have a third. I told her that I didn't try for a girl and that if I wanted a girl, we could have put that in our adoption paperwork. But we didn't have a gender preference. I had no strong desire for a girl and love having sons, so she has no reason to feel sorry for me. It rubbed me the wrong way that she said, you poor thing. Like my boys aren't good enough for me. And she said it right in front of them. They already have to field questions about being adopted. They shouldn't have to feel bad about their gender too. Anyway, the lady got upset, told me I was being rude for no reason, and walked away. I spoke to my sister-in-law about it, and she said she felt I didn't handle it correctly. She has 3 girls and 1 boy, and said it's a normal thing people comment on. She said people will tell her that her son is going to be feminine because he only has sisters, and she shrugs it off. People do say weird stuff like that. Am I the a-hole? Edit. Goodness, guys, reporting me for concern of self-harm is crazy. Somebody reported him for concern of self-harm. Huh? Was it something he said in the comments? Because I really don't hear any self-harm in that. Not the a-hole. I'm one with 4 girls, and people always used to say, did you want to have a boy to play with? Right in front of us. I think it's just delivery. I think if somebody, like my cousin has 4 girls, and the third we were like, if it's a girl, like the question, if it's a girl, are you gonna like be happy? Do you want a boy? Like, not like, oh, this sucks for you. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And I know for a fact that their last one, they're like, if it's no matter what, we're done. Like, we're going to try for a boy, but no matter what, we're done. It doesn't mean they love their 4th girl any less. It was just like, okay, maybe we'll get a boy, but if not, we're done. And it was a girl, you know. I think just people taking things too far is the problem here. Or their tone, maybe. But it's totally normal. I do it. Like if somebody says, oh, I've got, 2 teenage girls, and I'm like, how you doing with 2 teenage girls in the house? Like, just whatever. Been there. Or if you have like younger boys and you're like, oh boy, are they jumping off the furniture? You know, just like casual conversation like that. So I think the line gets crossed when you deliver it rude, but also some people are just so freaking sensitive too. It's like, it's hard to tell who an a-hole is unless I heard it with my own ears. Am I the a-hole for telling bridesmaids she can't bring her dog to the bachelorette party? Me, 30 female, and the maid of honor for my sister, 32-year-old female's wedding. We're planning a bachelorette weekend in Vegas since my sister has never been before and always wanted to go. We plan to be out of the hotel as much as possible, making the most out of our trip. One of the bridesmaids, a 28 female, recently asked the group chats about accommodations for her dog, a 50-pound Australian Shepherd. I was confused. She wanted to bring her dog. The bridesmaid said the dog has an ESA, emotional support animal. She likes to have her dog there to fly on planes. We live on the East Coast and we'll be flying to Vegas. We literally flew to Istanbul together not 6 months ago without the dog. There was no issue whatsoever. And when we get to Vegas, she does plan on just keeping the dog all cooped up in a crate the entire time. The hotel we're booking does have dog-friendly rooms, but doesn't allow pets to roam freely around the hotel unsupervised. The dog would have to stay in that crate for God knows how long each day. That can't be great for the dog. On top of that, our younger sister coming on the trip is very allergic to dogs. We don't have the money to just let this one bridesmaid book her own room for just herself and the dog to prevent my younger sister from having an allergic reaction. Unless this bridesmaid is willing to pay for a room by herself, I told her she can't bring the dog on the trip. I thought that was going to be the end of it, since this was reasonable on my part, in my opinion. But this bridesmaid is being super pissy with me, saying it was so wrong and horrible of me not to let her bring her emotional support animal, bearing in mind she's been absolutely fine without her dog on much longer flights. Bearing in mind, I even told her she could bring the dog if she's able to pay for her own room, so that my sister does not have a reaction. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole, and I'm a dog person. You bent. Sure, bring your dog. You just have to get your own room. Nobody else needs your emotional support animal. You need it. Not the a-hole. Comment. Told her she could bring her own dog if she's able to pay for a room. So she's being cheap and considering locking up her pup in a small cage, not taking allergies into account. She sounds like a self-centered individual. You're doing that pup a favor. Yeah, I agree. She's not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. All of your logic is exactly spot on. If she feels adamant, she can come up with her own accommodations. Otherwise, the dog has no place at a Vegas bachelorette party. The dog wasn't invited. You didn't get a +1. You need an emotional support animal. You figure it out. Yeah, in general, not the a-hole. And also, yeah, what is the plan for her dog? Maybe she can line up dog care in Vegas. You know, there's Rover. The hotel might even have sitters or something like that, but it's still nobody else's problem. The focus is the bachelorette party. Now, I have something to say about these bachelorette parties that are super elaborate and involve flying places, but that's a separate subject. Okay. Am I the a-hole for telling my coworker to F off after she said, "This is why you're single"? I, female 32, work as an interpreter. Don't worry when you see my atrocious grammar. I don't interpret from to English. It's my third language. One of my colleagues, Hannah, female late 30s, asked me the other day what my plans for the weekend were. I replied that I was going to the woods with my club to shoot some arrows and I had ballet class on Sunday. That's just a weird combo of things to do in one weekend. She was taken aback. I love it though. She was taken aback at that and asked me, how many hobbies do you effing have? Swearing is something she does a lot, so it didn't sound any alarm bells in my head, so I replied a few. She heard me speak about my classes before when I was asked about evening plans, and when I said no to going to a pub after work. Despite my reply, she wouldn't drop it and wanted me to list all the classes that I do. I told her that I took Italian classes, ballet beginners classes, archery, pan flute classes, and swimming. She asked, what about your volunteering? Did you stop doing that? I said, no, I still do that twice a week. And she said, this is why you're single. That surprised me. I've never complained about being single. I'm quite content with that, so I don't know where that came from. People just assume that you're tragically single. Have they not looked at statistics? Like, people are happily single. It's a thing. It's a big thing. Could I have been more polite? Sure, but could she have? Sure, but she annoyed me. I told her to F off and I left the room. Now she's telling everyone what an a-hole I am, and that she was only trying to give me advice because I'm immature and will be single forever if I don't get my shit. That's the point. She's a young woman doing her hobbies. That's the point. She doesn't want to be a miserable biddy like this lady. It's been almost a week now. She's got some of the ladies on her side and they're side-eyeing me. One even twirled like a ballerina badly. Oh my God, I would want to put hands on this behind my back as I was leaving the lunchroom. With so many people agreeing with her, I need to double check if I was right to tell her what I did. No, I think she's the a-hole and she's really good at corralling people behind her stupid, pointless drama. Not the a-hole, but she is creating a hostile work environment. She does not get to decide how you live your life, then get offended by you telling her in effect to mind her own business. Yes, you told her to F off, but as aggressively as she was being, it didn't sound like she would have taken anything. She just wants to be the blunt a-hole. And she does not like taste of her own medicine. I know these people. And it sucks because you like just be nice to them because you don't want to you don't want to be the person creating the hostile work environment. So you just try to be nice and you put up with it for so freaking long. And then you're like, Jesus, you know what? It's time for me to let you know that I've been faking being nice this whole time. You're a jerk and I'm going to be a jerk back to you. She crossed the line both professionally and personally, and it's important to try to nip that in the bud immediately and create a paper trail. Also, your hobby sounds super cool, and anyone mocking them is probably jealous. Yeah, people in decent relationships don't go around telling single people that their life sucks. She's probably in a crap relationship, and she's jealous that this girl just gets to go fly around doing all kinds of cool hobbies whenever she wants. Okay. Am I the a-hole for not giving my husband food if it was made with a blender that he was mad about me buying? How petty is this? I bought myself a nice blender. I work part-time at home and also watch the young kids that are too young for preschool. Due to me staying at home, I cook a lot, which I enjoy, so it's not a big. Now, the issue is that he was pissed the blender was $125. This annoyed me greatly since I use my fun money for it, and it's a household tool even though he won't use it. I thought we were over it, but I pulled it out again to make a smoothie, and he made more comments about what a waste of money and stupid buy it was. I had a conversation with him about the whole situation again, and he made more comments. Next time I took it out, I had had enough. Now every time I make something using a blender, I don't give him any. Okay, fair enough. It came to a head today. I made soup and I used the blender. I told him I used the stupid blender to make it, so he can't have any. He has to make his own food. This caused a huge argument, and I think he thinks I'm a petty jerk. But I've told him so many times not to call my purchase a waste. Am I the a-hole for taking it so far? This post made me think about my marriage. I'm asking for couples counseling, and if things don't change, I will be done. Wow. Okay. Not the A-hole, $125 is a lot for a blender, especially if you're using it and bought it with your fund money. I'm not well off, and I bought my blender on sale for $300. Yikes. My NutriBullet was $35, but I think that's not the point. He can think that it was a stupid purchase, right? But why isn't he over it? How come every time she goes to use the blender to make them smoothies or soup, she's got to say something? So, I don't think she's the a-hole. I think he's the a-hole. And the blender makes soup. Like, I mean, does he like the soup? Does he like the smoothies? People are spending a lot on blenders. A lot of people are saying they spent $500 on blenders. What is happening? I could never. I mean, if I had it like that, I would, but I can't imagine spending $500 on a blender. Yeah, I think he's the a-hole. Okay. Uh-oh. Am I the a-hole for telling my grandma to stay in her lane and stop being entitled? I, female 22, have a sister, female 26, who is 36 weeks pregnant. Our grandma is 79. Very excited. This is our first great-grandchild. She does, however, have a history of going too far with certain things. She does not believe in boundaries, such as how my sister has expressed she does not like having her back randomly rubbed. Our grandma insisted that she automatically gets to do all she wants as she is the grandmother. She also has bombarded my sister with several questions about the pregnancy, even things my sister did not feel comfortable talking about, but insists it's her right to know. We've talked to our mom, but she just says it's because she's old. This is tricky. My sister has brought up a plan for her birth. Grandma said she was so excited to witness the great-grandchild being born. She feels entitled to the birth room. My sister apologized profusely and said she only wanted it to be her and her boyfriend in the delivery room and no one else, not even our mom. She has not felt well her entire pregnancy and knows labor will not be a good time for her and doesn't want people seeing her in a vulnerable state. For a minute, Grandma genuinely realized she was serious. She asked my sister, how dare she deprive her of the experience of watching her the birth of her first great-grandchild. She started crying and went on about how selfish this was. My sister explained time and time again how she wanted her privacy, but Grandma said there's no reason privacy should apply to the grandma. This was 2 weeks ago. Grandma has since bombarded us, our mom, and my sister's boyfriend with calls and texts demanding she be in the delivery room as it is her right. Show me the right. Show me where this is in print, that it is your right. It's my right as a grandmother. We saw her again 3 days ago, and she would not let the matter drop. She began crying again, saying, how dare my sister be so cruel to her own grandmother? My sister was getting so angry and heated and started yelling. I tried the same way as my sister, but she just would not listen. I got to the point where I told her, Grandma, you need to stay in your lane. It's her delivery, so it's her choice. Stop being so entitled. She gasped and burst into tears and hysterics. Good, I don't like your grandma. She asked, how dare we treat her so poorly? She said, I have now created a drift between us and her forever. Good. That's the point. She left and we haven't heard from her since. Throw a party. My sister is completely on my side and actually thanked me for standing up for her. Our mom, however, says sounds like my mom, way too harsh and that it was a move on my part. Our dad also found out and ripped me to shreds over the phone, and our parents aren't even together. They both genuinely think I've ruined the relationship for good. Comments, not the a-hole. Your grandma has obviously been humored and coddled for far too long. You're the legend for sticking up. Yep. Somebody said less grandma time because you ruined the relationship. Sounds like a win for you and your sister. Unfortunately, I don't think you're going to get rid of her that easily. In the future, set a limit for how many times you'll answer her calls and look at her texts. Yeah. I knew when they said she doesn't believe in boundaries that this was going to be on the grandma. What do you mean you don't believe in them? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you believe in them or not. They're here. It's another grandma one. Am I the a-hole for telling my grandma to stop trying to make me be her dead daughter? I, 18 female, was named after my aunt who died in a car accident at 15, almost 20 years ago. I was told when I was born that my grandma saw my red hair and begged my parents to name me after my aunt, and they agreed. From a young age, I was aware she favored me. It's also caused my other cousins to resent me. I didn't like her favoritism towards me. I just wanted to be treated normal. She would often say, "You have red hair like your aunt, and your aunt used to like art, and I'm not even into art." She would encourage me to take it up. I refused, and it would upset her. Your auntie liked this hairstyle. I complained to my parents, and they said that I just bring her comfort, whatever. My 18th was 2 weeks ago, and me and my friends planned to have a weekend road trip. My grandma disapproved and said my aunt would have done a party at home, and finally lost it and said, "That's because I'm not her. Stop trying to make me your dead daughter." I'm sick of it. My grandma started crying and left the room. I immediately felt bad. I got yelled at by family for making my grandma cry. My dad was the only one who looked troubled and stuck up for me and told everyone to leave. My mother was upset with me and, like everyone else, demanded I apologize to my grandma, but I refused. My dad told me not to worry about it, just go enjoy my road trip. It would settle down by the time I got back, except that it hasn't. Everyone is still angry, and my grandma hasn't spoke to me either. I mean, I just gleeked. I think that at some point she should have said this, not in like a accusatory way, but she's 18, so she's probably not ready for that. But just saying, "Grandma, I worry because sometimes I think you're putting me in this box of your daughter who passed, and I'm glad that I kind of look like her. That's neat. It's neat. But I'm not her. So just make sure that you're keeping us separate in your mind, Grandma." Something like that, so that it didn't come to this. Not the a-hole. Do you like your name? If you're 18, if you don't like it, change your name. She favors you, and it has damaged relationships with cousins. Like, why is everybody mad that you finally said, "I'm not her"? Or shouldn't your cousins be like, "Okay, well, that cleared the air"? Like, and it's not your job to bring comfort in ways that you're not comfortable bringing comfort. Like, I can provide comfort in these ways. These are the ways I can provide you with comfort, and these are the ways that I cannot. Anyway, my toddler, I can hear him up there starting to be half asleep, so he's starting to wake up. Let's do one more, and then I gotta go. Am I the a-hole for not letting my boyfriend's son sleep with us? I met my boyfriend's son, 13 male, 2 months ago. He's a great kid and treats my kids, female 10, male 11, really nicely, which I'm grateful for. It's my ex-husband's week with the kids, so I'm staying at my boyfriend's place. I found out they have a tradition of watching a horror movie a night in October until Halloween. His son lies in bed with him, but will not go to his room when it's over. Well, last night they both fell asleep before the movie was over, so I turned it off and tried to fall asleep. It felt weird having a teenager in the bed with us, so I shook my boyfriend awake and asked him to tell his son to go back to his room. He told me he understood and woke up his son, who wasn't as understanding. He begged to stay, but lost the battle and went to his room. I felt like I had messed up whenever he didn't say "I love you" back to his dad. I understand he was upset, but I don't feel comfortable sharing a bed with a teenager, as you should not. And his mom would probably be like, "No, that's freaking weird." This morning he wouldn't talk to me. I assume my boyfriend told him why he was kicked out. So now he's pissed at me. My boyfriend, Oh, you can't sleep with your dad. So you're pissed at me? Good. My boyfriend and I took off today, so we both went to drop him off at school. And like last night, he didn't respond with his dad saying, I love you. He just said bye quietly and got out of the car. Look, teenagers are like this. Teenagers are, they're something else, okay? So don't take it personally. Like I said, it felt uncomfortable. Was it the right thing to do? He's a teenager and probably doesn't snuggle with his dad often like that. I'm afraid I ruined a moment. They had the moment. They were asleep. Okay, come on. It's time to move. Like, this is the grown-up bed. It's not appropriate. It's not appropriate. I am your stepmom. It's not appropriate. Somebody said, you are the a-hole. You just met his kid 2 months ago, which is why you can't sleep with him. There's no need for you to be intruding at your boyfriend's place on his custody time. How do you know he doesn't have his kids all the time? Much less kicking a kid out of his dad's bed on a movie night. You should sleep on the couch, or even better, stay at your own place when it's their time. We don't know that it's his like, he might have his kid every night. We don't know their arrangement. Also, the father of the child, somebody says the father of the child responsible for setting a boundary around custody time. I doubt the poster just showed up and hopped into his bed uninvited. And, oh, there is no mom in the picture, so he does have his kid all the time. And she didn't meet the dad 2 months ago. It just said that she's met the kids 2 months ago, so we don't know how long she's been with the dad. Well, these people are really duking it out in the comments. This is a super weird take. If my 14-year-old fell asleep in bed watching a movie with me and my partner, and I would wake my kid up and say, okay, time to go to bed. My kid wouldn't mope around about it either. I mean, the kid is 13. Does he really need to be sleeping with his dad? I think that is a little odd. I mean, it's getting to the age of it's time to cut this out anyways. For the most part. My kids are 9 and 14. I still let them sleep with me occasionally, but not nights that I have a partner over. That is weird. Yeah. He's just 13 and his dad's starting to date somebody, so he's feeling a little bit weird, but I 100% was expecting the comments to be not the a-hole, so it's weird AF when I see a you the a-hole. But most people are no, I mean almost all of them are, and not the a-hole, which I have to agree with. But I think it is a little bit of nuance. I think this is the dad's kind of the a-hole, because he should have had a discussion like, okay, I'm dating now, all right, and I know like you guys just met her, but we've been dating and we're serious, so you know, she's got kids, I got kids. It's kind of like a Brady Bunch situation. So we have to set some pretty basic rules that our kids aren't going to be in the bed with us. It applies to all three of you. Okay. We're still going to get plenty of family time in. Come in, watch a horror movie. If you doze off, I'm going to nudge you. You got to get out of here, okay? Because this is now a relationship bed. You're 13. It'll be okay. I don't know. That's where I stand on all that. I'm going to go get my toddler out of the bed. And hopefully he won't be sleeping with me when he is 13 years old. My daughter did. She slept with me forever, but not when I had a partner. She would just come in, we'd watch TV, pass out, but I wouldn't let a grown man get in the bed with us. All right, if you're still there and you watch this all the way to the end, I hope